Hey folks, today is, what is today? February 27th, 7:24 a.m. And yesterday we kind of saw the futures were down pretty red and the market recovered all day basically. Closed, I think it was down slightly, was it not? Down flat slightly, but still recovered all day. And today we're kind of seeing a similar thing where the futures are red. But maybe we'll just recover all day. And the one thing I noticed when I come over here is the oscillator is at a 12 now, where we were at 40, 38, 35. And this kind of activity where we're opening lower, kind of holding lower all day, and then we just see a little bit of recovery, is working off that overbought rating, which is actually really good. At the same time, the market is kind of consolidating underneath, or beginning to consolidate underneath this resistance point, which was made back here. This is really what drove the market lower in October, December, was this whole thing here. So there was resistance there, now there's resistance there, and we're right there. So even if it just keeps doing what it's doing now and the pattern just keeps, working sideways, that would be really good. And then hopefully eventually a break over that upper line there. So the Nasdaq's doing the same thing. We're just over the 200-day. So yeah, hopefully the action we're getting right now isn't a precursor to a big dropping sell-off like I said yesterday. I would much rather see some of that sideways action, which we actually saw earlier. Let me just show you what I'm talking about. Right here, this kind of activity in here, where we just kind of went sideways. And then up here, we dipped a bit lower, but there was still kind of a build up to another move higher. If we can keep getting these little bases building higher, little bases building higher, that's all really good action. So my list right now, I have AYX, which I was in from this day here. It's starting to work its way higher. Its earnings are today after the close. So for me, I won't be in through the earnings. I just don't hold through earnings. I'm hoping for another update. Yesterday was a nice surprise. It popped up huge volume. So hopefully we get another day like that, or at least a gap up, maybe some kind of gains a little bit more before the earnings, before I would need to get out anyway. Square has a nice ascending triangle, as you can see back here. It came out of this huge falling wedge, popped up. It was downgraded right here, which screwed up the move basically. It's gapping up right now, and it's got this nice ascending triangle, and its earnings are tonight as well. So it could be that if earnings are good, pops out of that triangle, it would be a buying opportunity, either today after the close, if you do trade after market hours, or tomorrow morning when the market opens. I found this guy yesterday, AYR. It has a really nice ascending triangle here. It already reported its earnings from what I remember seeing. But yeah, so that I have the price at about, where are we? 21. That's where that line is. That's where I have it sitting. COUP Software, its earnings and sales aren't quite where I like. I like at least 25% on the earnings and the sales. I checked that on finviz.com. It's really, really close though. It's got like 21.8% sales, I think, and then over 25% earnings, and a nice ascending triangle. So that might be an opportunity. Its earnings are March 11th. Found this guy as well. This is a biotech, REGN. It's another one that has the same kind of thing where it's got at least 25% on one of those numbers and over 20% on another one. Anyway, a nice ascending triangle. REGN's breakout is 431.33. That's quite expensive, but there it is. NUE. This is a steel company. I would think in case the China trade talks go really well and something changes with the tariffs, this might get a catalyst and it might go. Has a good earnings and sales. The breakout I have for NUE is at 61.92 out of this little flaggish pattern. I'm not sure when its earnings are. I'd have to check that later. Tesla is forming this big falling wedge. I was actually surprised it gapped down a lot yesterday on the Elon Musk thing and the SEC, and then it was bought all day long. And then today it's gapping up. So it could come out of this. This is enough of a consolidation along that line. I would think that if it breaks over that line, that would be a buy. Hopefully it has volume when it doesn't. Where am I here? Tesla 303 is about where I have it. If you draw that line, it's just going to be once it crosses that line. And hopefully it's got volume when it goes. NFLX, I'm sure this is a rising wedge. Look at it. You know, every time it touches this line, bounce, comes up here, drops, hits, bounce, drop, hit, and it's getting tighter and tighter and tighter. There's going to be a decision point at some point. It is a rising wedge, which is bearish. If it comes out of that and goes up, I'll be shocked. But to me, it looks like it's headed lower. The point I have is 360.90 for the drop through. But again, as that line keeps going up, that number changes every day. So that's where I have it right now, 360.90 to the downside. And then SANM I have here, and that's only because so much volume came in, we popped it up, and it's just gone sideways ever since. It's usually really bullish. So for that, I tried to get out 2 days ago, couldn't make it, but I still have the line where I had it. It's 33. So yeah, that's what's in my list. If I look back at some of these other ones I looked at, like Paycom, it had a real nice base down here, built its way up. Earnings were right there, and it's continued to climb. Palo Alto announced last night, and it's up like, what is that, 25, 30, almost $30 from this base all the way up there, and then earnings. I wouldn't hold over earnings. I mean, if you do and it goes great, but if you do and it doesn't, it's not so great, right? So if you held, holy cow, did you get a nice move. MDB, so again, this guy's getting hit on Amazon news again. It was hit back here on Amazon news, and I was kind of skeptical that it was going to be able to make its way back up to the upper line, which it did, and it broke out and continued climbing. And now again, more Amazon news against MDB. It recovered last time, so I'm going to keep an eye on it, see if it forms any kind of a new base up in here, and maybe it'll get higher again. Tandem also reported, and that thing's up like at least $9 or $10, it looks like. But it came out of this base, based again here, broke out, created a little flag, and then the earnings came out. And it's up like $9 or $10, so that looks really good. PXD has a nice pattern, and EOG, and I don't know if I like the oils at all anymore. I have these two that I'm keeping an eye on because there's so much talk with Venezuela, all that stuff, which will affect oil, and OPEC, and Trump talking to OPEC through Twitter and all that stuff. Maybe they're going to pop up again. I don't know. I just have them because they've got patterns on them, and maybe a catalyst will send them higher. Anyway, that's it. Like and subscribe if you like these videos. I'm going to keep doing them, and I'll see you tomorrow.